Hello and welcome. Hi Mom, hi Corinne. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday. Hope everyone is staying safe and warm. Hi Bernice, hi Thelma, thanks for joining us. How's your weather down there, Corinne? Thank you for sharing. Hi Thelma, hope you're doing okay. Hi Tammy, happy Friday. I am so thankful you ladies are joining me tonight. We will go ahead and get started. I'll get my housekeeping stuff out of the way. Thank you for sharing, Thelma. As always, give me a like or love or drop a comment in the comment section. Hi Sandy, happy Friday. I do a drawing each week for a winner from those that comment and those that share the video, and be sure to let me know if you share because Facebook doesn't always tell me that. Oh, we're digging out of all the snow and ice, Corinne. And so last week for my commenting winners, the winner of this pop-up card is Sue B. So this one will be coming her way. And then for sharing, let me flip it around, Miss Thelma, this one will be coming to you next time I see you. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Thelma. I've been thinking about you. All right. So here we go for the last Facebook Friday of the month. And as my practice, I like to do a gift card holder on the last Friday of each month. And even though it's not the final Friday, I didn't think you guys would be up for a Stampin' video on Christmas night. So we're doing our video this week, and this is a gift card holder and treat holder, all in one. If you have a gift card, it'll slip right in the little pocket here, and then you can have some Hershey Kisses inside your little box too. So we will go ahead and get started. It's actually not very complicated to make this sweet little box, no pun intended, with the candy inside. And so we're going to make this together this evening. So to start, you need a piece of cardstock that is 9 3/4 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches tall. It can be any color you want. I went with red for Christmas, and I'll have some birthday samples to show you as well. So I'm going to bring over my paper trimmer scorer. I've already got my paper cut to size. So there's just a little bit of scoring, and then it's mostly folding and assembling. So for this one, I am going to need the extendable arm here. And this is always hard to show you on camera, so I hope you can see. So with your 9 3/4 inch side on the top, you're going to start scoring. Your first score is going to be at 2 3/4 inches. And so just scoring, no cutting. Slide down to 5 1/4. And now you're going to score at 1 inch intervals for the rest of the paper. So that's 5 1/4. We're going to do 6 1/4, 7 1/4, 8 1/4, and then you guessed it, 9 1/4. And then once that's done, turn your paper counterclockwise so your little tiny panel is at the top. And on this 6 3/4 inch side, you're going to score 1 inch in from each edge. Hi Sue, happy Friday, thanks for joining me. You won one of the cards from last week, in case you weren't one when I announced that. So you're going to score at 1 inch, and then 5 3/4, which will come out to 1 inch on your other side. So it's up to you whether you want to measure at the 5 3/4 inch here, or if you've got this kind of paper trimmer, you can line it up on the 1 inch on this side. It works the same. And then that is all the scoring you need to do. No cutting with the trimmer. So I'm going to move that out of the way and show you how we're going to assemble the box. The first thing I'm going to do is take my bone folder and fold all the score lines in on the box and just give it a quick burnish with my bone folder. There's no particular order you need to do this in. And you can probably see how the box is going to come together already. Now, some people, I noticed when I was learning how to make this box, would not fold this score line, and some would. You're going to fold it eventually, so it's up to you whether you want to fold it and burnish it or not. It really doesn't make a difference in the assembly of the box, in my opinion. So now grab your scissors, and what we're going to do first is cut off these 2 tiny little tabs on the bottom. So leave your center one, but take off these little corners with your scissors. So I like to trim right on the score line for these 2 pieces. Then go ahead and trim on all your little 1 inch blocks and cut to the score line that's running the opposite direction. So basically here you're cutting the little tabs for the ends of your box. And so we're going to do this on both sides. And then we're going to trim off these 2 longer panels. And as you're cutting these off, keep one of them handy. We're going to use one of them to secure our candy inside the box. And now just repeat on the other side. So again, I'm just trimming up to those score lines on my little flaps. And then trimming off the bigger pieces. My biggest challenge is trying to keep a reasonably straight line when cutting these flaps. And this side is always the one that gives me the trouble. And I'm going to fight my flaps and trim this just a little bit longer. Got a little rough edge here. Okay. And before we go to assemble the box really quick, I'm going to bring my trimmer back. And I'm going to take one of these strips that was left over from cutting off the flaps of the box. I'm going to cut it down to 4.5. And then I'm going to cut it down to 3/4 of an inch. So you'll have a narrow strip of cardstock, and that score line in the middle, it doesn't matter where it's at, which way you cut it. This is what you're going to secure your little chocolate candies to. Corinne, yes, my boys are definitely enjoying the snow. There were snow angels and snowball fights going on around here. So they are loving it. And all their teachers who are teaching virtual school should deserve medals. So, okay, so now that we've got the basic assembly for the box together, we're going to start putting the box together with our tear and tape. There's no specific order you have to do this in. You can start taping your flap, you can make the gift card pocket first, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and put tear and tape on the small flap of the box. And what I do is I lay this down. You can see, hopefully, the way I've got my paper laid out. I have what's going to be my gift card pocket at the top, and the score lines are so that I'm going to fold this around to make the box. Hopefully that makes sense. So my tear and tape, I'm going to flip this over because I want the tear and tape here. And it just helps me visually see where I need to put everything. So tear and tape on the little flap here. I'm going to trim this overhanging edge here because otherwise I'm going to start sticking to everything. And I have enough trouble already. Ooh, gracious. Okay, so now back to, I'm going to flip my card base back over. And the reason I told you to have a gift card handy is because it's just easier to put this together knowing what size you need to work with here. So if you don't have a gift card, a credit card will do, just don't leave it in your gift card pocket. Somebody will get a really nice surprise. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that top flap down so I can see where I'm working. And then I'm going to line my gift card up with the very edge of the cardstock here. You don't want a lot of extra room. You don't want your card to get swallowed in the pocket. So this is a two-step process here. The first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of tear and tape, and I'm going to line it up right on the very bottom here. And I'm kind of going to line it up right on the score line, right below the gift card. And that way I know I've got just enough room for that gift card to fit in. So I'm going to press that down, and hopefully you can kind of see here where I'm going with that. And then, so the gift card doesn't disappear into the pocket, I'm going to create a stopper here with another piece of tape. And so, you can put it a little closer if you want. And it's okay if your tape is a little long and overruns to that first flap. It's absolutely fine. Look at me all matchy match with my cardstock and my sweater tonight. Totally unintentional. So once you've got that lined up, very simple, I'm just going to press the tape down and then peel off the backing. And then remove your gift card. Don't leave it in there when you fold it over because it's really difficult to get out before you punch the little notch, which we're going to do in a little bit. Ask me how I know. That was a fun struggle the other night. And I'm just going to take my scissors for a minute. I have got one little bit. There we go. I had one little wisp of cardstock that was hanging out and bothering me. So, now we're going to cut our little our little peekaboo window. So you can see here, we've got the little peekaboo window in the front, and I'll show you how to do that. With the classic label punch, this is a long window with a little point on the edge. So this is probably the trickiest part. I will admit to screwing up one of these the other night because I wasn't paying attention while I was working. My best tip is to take your box base here. I want to say card base, it's not really a card, but your box, and fold the tiny flap under. Just that one tiny flap. And then I like to keep it face down. And when I put my punch on, I'm aiming to get in this box right here. And that way when I put it together, my window's going to be here. Even had to stop and double check myself to make sure I was doing it in the right place. So I'm going to slide my cardstock with that little flap folded into the punch. And this is probably the most difficult part of the box, is eyeballing where to punch your little window. So with the score lines, it's kind of handy because you can sort of see that you're straight up and down as well as level across the top. So I've got it more or less centered. I'm going to punch, and then I'm going to slide it a little to the right and try to keep it as lined up as possible. And you can kind of maneuver your cardstock a little bit to see if you've got it lined up. And when you're doing this, watch how much space you have over here because you're wanting to duplicate it on the other end. And if you've got it lined up, punch, and then slide back to the left. And as I said, try to keep the same amount of space. I'm sure people probably get technical with a ruler. I'm not one of those people. I always go on a wing and a prayer here. And then it's easiest to slide to the side all the way out. And there I have my little peekaboo window, and that is probably the best one I've done, ladies. Look at that. Bernice, this punch is still available. I saw lots of samples where people use the old Word window punch, which was the long window with the rounded edges, and I believe that one has retired, but unless I am mistaken, this classic, I believe it's the classic label punch, is still available. Hold on one second, I'll grab a catalog. And I will confirm that for you. I try not to use things that have retired. So let me double check. Yes, the classic label, it's on page 166 of the annual catalog if you have yours handy, Bernice. Hi, Anne. Happy Friday. We are assembling our gift card holder. So now I think I'm going to take a minute before I go ahead and finish, and I'm going to do my stamping. So I'm going to take my 2 pieces of cardstock, which I tried to hide here. These pieces are each 2 1/8 inches tall by 4 3/8 inches wide. One for the front, one for the back. And so this is going to be a Christmas gift card holder. So I'm going to start with the front of my card here. And I am using the Perfectly Plaid set for my sentiment and some Christmas trees. And then I do have, I have a little star accent that I'm using as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my sentiment, Merry Christmas, and on my example here, sorry Bernice, you know the website and the way to go, right? Add it to your wish list. I hate it when people do that to me. Someone shared a beautiful card this week with a stamp set I did not have, and I said, well, great, now I need that one. My list gets longer every day. So on this sample that I made, I put my Christmas sentiment towards the bottom, and I actually don't like that as much. So for this one, I'm going to move it up a little bit. So I'm using my foam mat since this stamp set is the clear photopolymer. I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm using shaded spruce ink. And I'm going to go more centered and hopefully reasonably straight. And then I have a scrap of Whisper White here. And I'm going to stamp 2 trees on this. These are from that Perfectly Plaid set. Let's see if I can fit them both on my little scrap here. So there's the first one. I'll flip that around. And so I'm using shaded spruce for all the trees here. Happy little Christmas trees. All right. I'm going to take a minute and punch these out with our pine tree punch. And I just decided when I was putting this card together that I wanted to give the front and the back a little bit of dimension. So that's why I'm cutting the trees out as opposed to stamping right on the cardstock itself. So there are my little trees. And now back to the front panel. I decided this needed a little something. I'm going to pop the tree here on this end, but I thought it's a little plain, so I'm going to take a star from one of my sets. I was starting to put my Christmas sets away, so I couldn't find a snowflake, which is what I really wanted. Yes, don't we all have long lists, Thelma? And if you've seen that new catalog, it probably got a whole lot longer. And my catalogs are in ladies, so if you want one, you are probably getting one either by mail or it's being delivered to you in person. So I will be in touch if I haven't already been to discuss that. So for this, I'm just stamping randomly some stars. This is Smoky Slate. I'm not going to go too hog wild, and some of these are going to be behind the tree, but let's see. There we go. And then for the back, I'm going to keep it fairly simple on the back because I want to have room to write a message for my gift recipient. So I'm taking some real red ink and using the stamp from the Perfectly Plaid set that says Ho Ho Ho. Rather appropriate for Christmas. And I'm just going to put that on this end of the cardstock. And that's all the stamping I'm going to do on the back because I'm going to pop this cute little Christmas tree on the other end. So it's up to you if you want to assemble this part of the card before you assemble the box. It really doesn't matter. It depends on your dexterity, and it's not really all that fussy. I did it both ways, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal. And secure this tab on the front of the box. And don't go too far down because our box is going to come up and fold around. And then I'll lay this flat and put the back panel on. Definitely in for chocolate, Bernice. I wish you lived closer. I definitely would bring you some. All right, so there is the back panel, and I'm gonna wait to put on the Christmas trees until I finish putting the box together. So now, I'm gonna flip this back over, and it's time to start putting the box together. So a little trick I learned, I'm gonna peel off the tab that I had on my little small tab. And if you fold it down and under, you can just fold your box together. I'm always worried I'm going to mess this part up. Press it down, and then you just raise that up a little bit. There's your box. So that's easier than trying to kind of wrap your fingers around. Hi, Kissy. Thanks for joining us. So now we need to fold in one of our ends. And some people probably have an exact science for which flap you fold in first. I don't know. I just like to make it look nice. So I tend to fold the top flap back so my seam is towards the back. And I'm just noticing that my flaps are a little wonky. So I'm just going to trim a little off the edge of my flaps for a prettier presentation. So just on these two flaps here that are the most visible. And you'll kind of see what I mean as you put this together. Now for this end of the box, I'm going to take a small piece of tear and tape and put it on the underside of the flap I want on the top. Peel the tape off. Make sure I don't have any overhanging edges. And there we go. So next step, here's that little strip we cut earlier that was 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. I'm going to take a little adhesive and not go end to end, but kind of in the middle here. And then I've got 4 chocolate kisses. And this you can measure out precisely if you want. I've just been eyeballing. I'm just going to line them up right here on the middle. And this isn't to keep them in place permanently. This is just kind of get them to behave themselves while you put them in the box. So now you can take your box and the end you still have open and slip your little strip with your Hershey Kisses right inside. And look at that. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have window sheets, but I can't find them because my craft area is kind of a Christmas mess right now. But if you have acetate window sheets, you can cut a little piece that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, and obviously before you close the box, just glue it where your window is, and then you'll have a little piece of acetate protecting your little candies. It's up to you. It's totally aesthetic, really, if you want it or not. So there's that little tidbit I forgot. So now that my little kisses are in there, you have 2 choices. You could glue the box shut and make it a little more difficult for your gift recipient to open them. You could just tie it shut, or I like to kind of meet in the middle. So I like to take one of our little glue dots. These are nice strong glue dots, but they're not the world's strongest, if you know what I mean. And then when I fold my flaps in, and I almost did a good job on this end of the box, I'm just going to put a little glue dot right in the center, just enough to tack this flap shut while I'm working with the box. And that way somebody won't have to rip it totally apart to get into their candy. Aw, Thelma, thank you so much. So before I tie the bow, I'm just going to take some dimensionals and pop my little Christmas trees on the front and back. I'm using miniature dimensionals or small dimensionals for these. So peel the backing off of these. If you ladies are busy crafters like me, you are probably finding dimensional backs everywhere this time of year. So I'm going to put my little Christmas tree there on the front, and I decided I wanted to jazz it up just a smidge. So I pulled out all the trimmings embellishments that I have, and I'm just going to put a few little red dots on the Christmas tree, kind of decorate it, so to speak. So we'll see if I can get my fingernails to work here this evening. So I'm just going to place a couple of these on the Christmas tree here. And then I'm going to flip it over and put my other Christmas tree on the back. And then for this one, rather than decorate the whole tree, I thought I would just put a little star at the top. And all the trimmings embellishments have these cute little stars in them. So I thought I would use one of those and put it right there at the top of the tree. Sweet little touch there. All right, so now to keep our box closed, we're going to tie a ribbon around it. But before I do that, one more step. We want just a little notch here to make sure that our gift card recipient can pull the gift card out without getting super frustrated. Although Bernice says she's going to let them throw the chocolate at her. So I have a 1-inch circle punch, and I'm not going to go too far in, but just kind of on the edge of the cardstock and into the very edge of the white sentiment panel. And this is probably the trickiest thing because you're going through 4 different layers. So use your thumb muscles and get ready to throw confetti at yourself, because that pops everywhere when you do that. That's the fun part. But then when you put your gift card in your little pocket, you've got a way to get it back out. Maybe. There we go. Now, last step, I'm going to tie some ribbon around the box. Just dress it up a little bit. What I like to do is take my ribbon and measure around the box and then give myself a little extra for a bow. This is one of the few times you'll probably see me tie a real bow. So measure for 2 loops and a little bit. Trim my ribbon, and this is the real red sheer ribbon that we have in our holiday catalog. It's beautiful. You've probably seen me use this on a lot of projects. And so what I like to do is kind of find the center point, and I put that on the right end of the box. And then I stand my box up and I tie my bow on this end of the box. I apologize for the awkward angle here. So my ribbon's straight. This is the fun part, trying to hold it down and tie a knot in it. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. There we go. Now I'm going to tie the bow. And rather than leave it here, what I do before I trim the edges is just slide it gently around the corner. Some people would actually pull it off and then try to put it back on, and I'd probably butcher the box doing that. So I just like to slide it. You can leave it off to one side or the other, or center it. I'm going to pull it over a little bit near my words. And there we go. Now I'm going to trim my edges. Trim my tails on the ribbon here. Oop, didn't do that angled enough. That's better. Get my scraps out of the way, and there, hi Melissa, happy Friday, thanks for tuning in. So there is our perfectly sweet little gift card holder with a sweet treat involved too. So that's fun. And you know me, I like to give you options. That should be my tagline, right ladies? You have options, ladies. So this one that we made tonight is all stamped, front and back. And I thought, well, do you have to do that? And the answer is no. If you'd rather, pull out some DSP, Designer Series paper, and use a scrap of Designer Series paper, same measurement as your white panel, so 2 1/8 by 4 3/8. And then I just accented with a sentiment stamped on Whisper White and cut out with a die. You could even layer another piece of Whisper White on there, so options. And then I kept them the same on the back. And so you've got room to write your message there. So these were the Christmas ones that I made. But obviously these are great for any time of year, not just Christmas. So I made some birthday ones. I made one with Designer Series paper. And there's the back that's stamped. Thank you, Melissa. And then on this birthday treat holder, what I did was I took a little stamp, I took this little star, and I stamped all over in the matching color, the Flirty Flamingo. And I didn't stamp the back panel, but I could have. And I didn't stamp the ends of the boxes because I figured they're kind of covered up by the ribbon. But I did go over the rest of the panels with the little star stamp set just to dress it up a little bit. And it looks fine either way. So ladies, there we have it. Our sweet little gift cards and treat boxes all in one. So I hope you enjoyed these projects this evening. I thank you very much for tuning in. If you need any supplies, be sure to check out my website at thefaithfulstamper.stampinup.net. You can use that December host code if your order is less than $150. And if you do that, you will be entered to win a mystery prize from me for this month. I have a couple people in the drawing already, so if you'd like to join in with them, please feel free to place an order. And then this is our last Facebook Friday for the year. So I will be back January the 8th with our Friday Facebook Live. But I will be back one final time for 2020, and that is on Monday, December 21st, with our Mystery Monday video. So I have a cute card in mind. We'll see if I can pull it together for our final video of the month. So thank you, ladies, so much for taking time out of your Friday night to join me. If you make one of these boxes, I would love to have you share it on the page. I love to see what you ladies make. So I hope you will join me next Monday, but if you don't, I wish you a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a happy holiday, whatever holidays you may celebrate, and send love and best wishes for the new year. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy crafting.